Now we're recording. Let's begin with our mission statement in the bottom left-hand corner of your agenda if you have it available. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. It looks like we don't have any guests today, all members. That's awesome. And we are back to a regular meeting schedule. Last week we had our speech contests, and Chanel and I will be competing in the area contest this Saturday. So I wish us luck.
Oh.
Kind of daunting. It's so soon. Any other new business?
Will you let us know where that's going to happen?
Yes, I haven't even gotten a link yet, but it's Saturday from 9 to noon, and it's on Zoom. So I can send the link to everybody once I get it.
Yeah, that would be great.
And they really need volunteers for the official positions.
Oh.
If anybody would, if you're gonna be there, you might as well volunteer and take something.
Yeah, they need timers, judges, assistant Zoom master, things like that. So if you are available Saturday morning, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Any other new business that I'm missing, Board? I know we haven't met like we were supposed to.
No, I think we're good.
Okay, sweet. Well then, with that, I will introduce the Toastmaster of the day, Joey Myers, for our theme, Wear a Hat Day.
Thank you, Miss Farron.
Yay.
Wear a Hat Day. So I got 3 of them for you, but I wanted to, since it's very nice weather right now, this last week, it was a little cold because of the wind a little earlier, last week, I guess, Saturday, the weekend, but very nice baseball weather. And from what I hear, I guess spring training is going to be starting for baseball. And when the spring comes, baseball's coming. So we do something in baseball called a rally hat. When we have whether we're tied or we're down a little bit, we turn our hat inside out. So typically this happens on what's called a 2-2-2 count. So when there's 2 balls with the hitter, 2 balls, the hitter has 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. So there's 2 outs. So this is like the big time. We got to make sure that we get this. With the 2 strikes, you only get 3 strikes. You get 1 more strike, you're out. And then that turns the inning and turns the other team on. So what we do, I don't even know if I could do it, this hat, but we turn it inside out like this. And then we put it on. I can't really do it with this hat because I got too big of a head, but typically the hats will fit somewhat. But I had a couple other hats for you. So rally day today for hat day. So this is my normal work hat here. It's got some, like they say, never wash your martial arts belt, so you can see all the sweat and the stains and the blood and everything on it. So I don't wash this one, but this is my team right here. There's not too many of us. Can you see who the logo is? The only probably green team in all of sports. I don't know of any other teams, hockey, basketball. Well, maybe basketball, there's some green. I don't know football. Oh yeah, football, Seahawks. Yeah, but in baseball, this is the only green team out of 30 teams, and they wear white shoes, white cleats. So my favorite, Moneyball. And then I got the last one. I got this one at an affiliate, a marketing summit. It was like 50 to 60,000 or so affiliates and marketers and stuff that went to this thing. And this was free on the table. They had get-togethers and things like that. And this is one of my favorite. My daughter loves this one. You see the braids right here? So this is my Captain America when it's cold. And my daughter didn't know I had it. And I brought it out one day and you should have seen her eyes get big. And she loved it. And then she started going to bed with it. So that is the hat day. Happy hat day, everybody. Rally hat. All right. So with that, we will move on with our scheduled agenda. And I want to, so Winnie, who is taking over for that? Was that?
I am.
Sarah. Okay. So I want to pass the baton over to Sarah Dawson. She's going to be our general evaluator of the meeting.
All right. Thank you so much, Joey. And I think it's perfectly named general evaluator because I get to generally evaluate what goes on here today. And thankfully, we have lots of people to help us along with that. I'll introduce those right away. Chanel West will be our grammarian of the day. Chanel.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm putting the word of the day in the chat right now. The word that I chose is gnarly, which I don't know about you guys, but to me it conjures up images of a surfer guy on the beach when I hear that. However, interestingly enough, this word, the definitions are actually antonyms of themselves, because you can use gnarly to mean distasteful or distressing, offensive, gross. Or it can mean excellent and wonderful, or it could mean difficult or dangerous. So there is a wide variety of uses for this word. So you can be very creative and should have plenty of opportunity to work it into your statements. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Chanel. I hope in table topics we get a chance to talk about times when gnarly was used, because I grew up with that word. So I hope we get to, but moving on to, thank you, Chanel. You always pick very fun words. I love it. Sonia, you get to be our odd counter today. Would you tell us all about it?
Gnarly hat, Chanel. Love it. Love it. Okay. So yes, as our counter today, I will be counting everybody's crutch words and like run on, like if you say something like and you kind of stretch that out, I will be catching those no-nos. So take it away, Sarah.
All right. Thank you, Sonia. All right. Next up, we have Denise as our timer.
Hello, everyone. I started the day off. It was beautiful, the sun shining. I have a peach orchard or almond orchard across the street, and the blossoms are beautiful. And then I got to work and everything turned gnarly. So I'm going to do my best to stay focused and get my timing done right. I'll be timing the speech and the table topics, and hopefully I can stay focused and do a good job by you.
Thank you, Denise. And up next, Farron, you're a Zoom master.
Thank you, Sarah. As Zoom master, I let in all of the participants from our waiting room, and then I am recording the meeting today, and I'll upload it to YouTube, send out the link so that people can follow our YouTube channel and watch themselves give their speeches and their evaluations to look for things like hand gestures or maybe standing to one side of the screen or the other, just to evaluate themselves.
Thank you so much, Farron. And now we get to hand it back over to Joey to introduce our next speaker. Thank you, Joey.
Thank you, Sarah. Our one and only speaker today is Mr. Storm Davis. And it looks like he's in, I think, second speech in his pathway. So the one after the icebreaker where you get to change it around a little bit, look at your evaluation and polish and make it a little bit better. And so that one, for those of you that weren't there for that, was on geothermal heat for our homes. And Storm is a medical student with a fascination with efficiency in our lives. Storm Davis, take it away, sir.
All right, let's see. I'm going to attempt to share my screen.
Give me 1 second, I'll make you host.
Okay. I'm having a lot of trouble with my split screen because I'm trying to get notes on one screen and then the presentation on one. All right. Let's see. I can find it. So what do you guys see? Okay, I believe this is what you guys see my screen. Is everything's good?
Yes.
Okay, so, all right. So I wanted to start from the beginning, and I wanted to give a presentation, my second presentation about geothermal heat pump and what geothermal. So I'll be covering what geothermal heat is. I mean, we have a planet covered, I mean, in the core it is molten lava, And on the surface of the planet, we have a very wide variety of temperatures, and put it down to -40, -30 degrees, all the way up to 130. I think the records are up to maybe 133 in Death Valley. I think the United States holds one of the records on this continent is right here in Death Valley, and that's only a short drive away. So people, I mean, we could survive in the Antarctic or in the middle of the desert. I think it is a lot of fun to go in and give yourself some cold exposure and heat exposure, going back and forth. Having that is good for your body, but it's not very comfortable. So during the summers, we have here in Fresno, it would reach 115. In my driveway where my air conditioning unit is, it'll reach all the way up to 140 degrees. Now, the funny thing about geothermal heat pumps is it kind of negates the effects of what the outside temperature is, because as it gets hot, we start turning on the air conditioner, and it is 120 degrees outside sometimes here, depending on which area you're on inside of the house, or there's a window that like all the heat just like bleeds into the building and it's hot. So we just turn it down a little bit further. And it gets to the point where you hear the air conditioning, it does not stop. It doesn't turn off. If you open up the door, it doesn't catch up, and whatever temperature it's at inside, it just stays there and it doesn't turn off. The other part is you're going to have a bill at the end of the month. I mean, sometimes my bill will be in the winter, will be about maybe $30 to $40 just for electricity. But during the summer, when you've got the kids, or you have something, or you have computers, you have that bill that'll jump up to $200. I've seen an electric bill up to $1,300 in another city where I used to live. And the air conditioner, it never turned off. It was set to 62 degrees. And I was like, wow. So this thing never turns off. I think it turns off for maybe 1 hour, about 5 a.m. And then that's it. So $1,300 a month, that is, what is that? That's well over 13,000. I'm just thinking about 10 months. I mean, over the course of all of those years, you're going to have so much money going into the energy of running that unit. So going over to heat pumps is, I wanted to give you an explanation of why I like them, and that how they work and what the impact on the environment is, and then I will cover the cost of how much they are. So in California, this is an average cost of different places. I'm not sure if you can see my mouse or not. I don't think you can. But here in California, our electricity just goes up on a tier system. So most homes are about a 8 to 13 tier system, a SEER. So my old heat pumps, we will have it's called a SEER 10. And so for every 1 watt, every 1 watt of electricity, it's going to produce 10 BTU of cooling. And then we use this tonnage. I know that you guys don't care about the size of the AC conditioners, air conditioners, and the heat pumps and stuff like that, but it's about the savings. So as you can see, as we reach off from the left to the right, you see the very first one is geothermal heat pump. The average cost is about $2,000 a year. And as you get off to the right, you're seeing bills all the way up into $6,000. I've seen bills that were $1,300 in 1 month. You're talking about $6,000, $7,000 just for that 5-month period, and that's a lot of money. That's not even a pay upgrade. And you know how we get, I got a pay increase, like $2 pay increase at work, and this would be a huge benefit right here. For you're not paying so much money. This is how it works. So in the winter, you have on the left-hand side, you have the heat pump is actually mechanical. It's called mechanical water. All it is you fill it up full of water, and you have a heat pump. It's either going to push out cold or hot water into the earth, and the earth is going to absorb that energy, that hot water or that cold water energy, and it will give you water that is roughly 50 degrees. And that will heat or cool your home depending on what you want to do, because the air temperature will hit 130 degrees. And then, but down below, say about 8 feet, maybe 3 meters down, you have a constant temperature that never changes. So you could actually use that to very efficiently move heat from inside your house to the ground, or in the ground into your house. And it's done very efficiently. The other concern, now that we're in California, I think that by 2030, we have so many plans going from we're at 2021 and we're going to 2030. We're going up to a spot where we're going to look at pollution and stuff like that. So here in California, it's a little bit cut off right here, but California produces 1 to 2 terawatt hours of electricity every single hour. And Texas is pretty high over there. So coal is how we get some of our energy. We have solar coal, we have steam, we have pumped hydro, we have all these different places, but coal is one of the ones that we actually have to eliminate. As the population grows in the United States and the rest of the world, our energy demands will only increase, which is going to turn into something like Australia, where they have peak rates and stuff like that. And the price of electricity to cool your home just increases. It's just a lot. So this is something for a commercial building. So this is several feet down inside in front of a building. This looks like it's pre-construction. So what you could actually do is you could rip out a driveway or even dig a well. So you'll have someone over there, they'll dig, find a grass spot next to your heat pump. They'll just drill all the way down, maybe 6 to 800 feet down, and they'll actually put this line. All this is just a hose. It's like a garden hose that is very durable. It'll last for over 50 years. If you take care of it, it could last, I think it'll last all the way up to 80 or 100 years. And man, that's a long service life right there. And there's no additional cost. There's nothing. This will not be affected by outside weather. So the cost, the average cost is about $20,000, and that's before tax credits and incentives. So if you have an average cost about $20,000, your electric bill will be reduced by about 45% overall. And you could actually when your electricity or your cooling is that cheap, you'll actually turn it down from 75 down to 70. You might even set it to 60, depending on how much cool weather you like, because some people like to work out, go to the gym, and they now have home gyms and stuff like that. They work out. So after the tax incentives, you're looking at a total price of about $13,000. And then there's payment plans. So this is Samantha. She wrote a wonderful article, and I have a reference page on the next slide that you guys could look at, or if you guys have any questions. And I wanted to give proper credit to somebody who I quickly referenced over for this presentation. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Storm. I love that. There's going to be probably a few of these adjustments or evolution of how we deal with electricity and gas. So that's going to affect both of those, Storm, both electricity and gas? Say if you were to put that in and install that function in your house?
So what's really cool about this is it's extremely efficient. This is so much more efficient. We're looking at heat pumps. So I see in the rest of the world, all across Europe, you have something called heat pumps, and it's just this little unit. It's about this big, and it's on the side of the building. You can put it up high, down low. It's smaller. The thing about it is it's very efficient. It uses very little electricity, but as the temperature rises, its efficiency drops, and it's not as efficient. And someone could run into it, vandalize it. So the advantage about these heat pumps is you'll never use gas again to heat your house. To heat your house, you will no longer use natural gas. is very clean burning, but you'll only have one dependent, which is electricity, electric water heater if you need it, electric heating and cooling, which is through this geothermal heat pump. And then if you have solar and a battery wall, Tesla battery wall, shout out, you will not have a dependency on a lot of things.
Very cool, man. Well, I like the speech. A lot of good information. Thank you, Storm. All right, with that, let's transition into our table topics portion of the meeting, and that will be the El Capitana, Heather Davis.
Thank you. Denise, I think you came in a little bit late, so I'm just going to resend the questions for everybody. And just with the theme for Wear a Hat Day, I had some fun 3 different questions for you all. The first question is, there are so many styles of hats like flat caps and T hats. Do you have a favorite style hat? Number 2 is, hats like people have many stories. Is there a hat you may have with a funny or cool story attached to it? And number 3, hats are meant to be fun fashion pieces, but sometimes our fashion choices are questionable. Do you have a hat that ever make people question why you bought it in the first place? So I'll start off with number 2. This is actually my husband's hat. It has a little quail on it. And we found it at a Yosemite gift shop for one of his birthdays. It was a couple years back, but the thing that makes this hat so special is it went around the world with us on our honeymoon. It literally flew around. So we'll never have the heart to throw it out, no matter how gnarly it gets. It's just one of those very special hats that we just can't get rid of. So I'll open it to whoever would like to answer any questions first. If no one offers, I'll start picking names. Okay, well, Joey, you're already wearing a hat. Do you want to answer any of those questions?
Yes, I will talk about this one.
Okay.
I talked about my other one. I could have given that story, but I already gave that story, but I want to talk about the Oakland A's. One of my favorite teams all the way back to when I was probably 88, 89, I think is when the A's team got on my radar. My first baseball card was of Don Mattingly, who was a Yankee. He was my first favorite player. But then when I had heard, I love green, by the way, that at that time, I still love green, but green was my favorite color. And when I saw the A's, I fell in love. And at that time in 1988, so I was 8, the Dodgers, I think that was the one Kirk Gibson hit the homer with the bum leg to beat the A's in the World Series. I don't remember that per se, but I remember the next year, 1989, when they swept the Giants in 4 straight games. And that was the year 89 of the Bash Bros, the Bash Brothers. For those of you old enough to remember that was Mark McGwire and Jose Canseco.
Yep.
Anybody remember that name? Even you young ones might know Canseco because he was on Big Brother or one of those reality TV shows. And he was it was a mess. And those 2 guys were gigantic. They were like 6'3", 6'4". The Bash Bros, every time they'd hit a homer, and I think McGwire hit 40 something homers that year, and Canseco hit 33 homers and stole 33 bases or something. It was a 30-30 club. But every time they'd hit a homer, because one would bat third and the other fourth, and they'd score each other. And as they came home, they'd have their big old giant arms or big forearms, and they'd hit each other like that. And that was the Bash Bros. So that is my story behind why I like the Oakland Athletics. And there's few and far of us between in California. You're either a Giants fan or a Dodger fan. There aren't too many baseball fans that like the A's.
Dodger fan here. Hey, I was born and raised in LA, Joey, so.
Uh-huh.
Well, thank you, Joey. What about you, Sonia? Do you have a favorite or any of those questions speak to you?
You know what? I do not own any hats, but I have on my bucket list, I would like to go to the Kentucky Derby, because when I lived in LA, my dad would take us to Santa Anita, like to go see the horse races. And so going to the Kentucky Derby, which is the first Saturday of May, And I would love to do that. So I would definitely splurge and go buy those fancy hats, and, you know, because you got to dress up for a Kentucky Derby. So I would sport a hat, but no, I don't sport any hats at all. So normally if I'm going to wear a cap or something, I borrow my boyfriend's. So there you go.
Oh, well, thank you, Sonia.
You're welcome.
What about you, Storm?
All right, thanks for the volunteer. My favorite first hat was a hard hat. I never enjoyed hats until I actually worked construction. And I think the hard hat has taught me some good lessons and some hard lessons, because the brim you can't see over. And then sometimes when you're walking, you might actually have something, and then you'll walk into something. So the bad habit that taught me that you're always looking down and you're not looking up like that. So that was my favorite hard hat. And the second favorite hard types of styles of hat is actually the one that Chanel West is wearing right now. They're classy. They keep the sun out of your face. You're not going to get sunburned. You're not going to get skin cancer. You're not going to have any issues later on in life on your ears, on your face. I mean, some people, they have this little spot right here, and they actually get sunburned right here. And I think it's a hazardous thing if you actually work out in the sun for many, many hours.
Gnarly hat, Storm.
Yeah,
Did I miss the word of the day again? Man, this is a gnarly Zoom session right here. I forgot it twice.
well, you got it in there. And I really like your hat. I love the color. Hopefully.
Oh, this is my daughter's.
Oh, well, I like your daughter's hat. What about you, Chanel? I'd love to know more about your hat, or if you have any answers to any of those questions.
Sure. I actually couldn't think of an interesting story to go along with this hat, so I got a different hat. This is my gnarly hat here. So, believe it or not, when I was in high school, I kind of went through a crisis of fashion and got this hat here. When I was 17, a bunch of my friends and I went to Disneyland. It was like our senior year, and we went on a trip. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to Disneyland, but they have a store there called the Mad Hatter, based off of Alice in Wonderland and the Mad Hatter. So I thought, you know, I was going to be super cool and edgy and get this hat here, Mickey Mouse, flat bill, and, you know, wear it around Disneyland like this. I thought I was just really being cool, tapping into my alter ego. Needless to say, I don't wear it very much anymore. It stays in my closet, just reminders of those times. That is my story.
It just comes out when you're feeling like you need a different version of Chanel.
When I'm doing my Justin Bieber dances and stuff.
Perfect for it. What about you, Farron? I can't tell. Is that a smiley face on your hat?
Yes, this is one of my favorite hats. This is my Run Smiley hat.
I love it.
A girl in Clovis, this is her company. It's called Endure, Sonia Arata. This is her design. One of my favorite hats. I'm in my room, so I was able to grab some of my other favorite hats. This is my other running hat. I am on a running team, San Joaquin Running. I'll get closer so you can see the logo. This is my trail running team. My other favorite hat, which I hardly wear, was given to me by my boyfriend's mom because they're from Oaxaca. So I have this for when I work out in the garden. Has a really cool flower in the back.
Nice.
And then my last other favorite hat is actually a beanie. But does anyone recognize this?
Pikachu?
No. You know the name of this type of style of hat?
Yes.
This is a pussy hat. And it was made famous in 2017 for the Women's March. I was not able to attend the march on the Capitol.
Okay.
I wore my hat anyway. And I wear it as my rally hat during elections and things like that. That's all.
That is a really cool knit hat. I like that one. Lots of hats. Let's see. What about you, Denise? Do you have any hats that you like to wear? good stories with any of them?
I do. I want to first say this is a story for another time, but I have, Joey, surprisingly, a Mark McGuire story.
No.
But that's for another time because it's not related to hats. In kind of the same idea that Sonia was talking about with the Kentucky Derby. Gosh, I'm getting emotional because the story that I'm about to tell. My mom also had a dream of going to the Kentucky Derby, and my dad helped my mom see that dream. Aww. And she had spent weeks and weeks looking for the perfect hat, because we all know that that's the biggest thing for the women there is to have that perfect hat. And she never could find anything. They were living in Chicago at the time. She thought once she got to Kentucky, there'd be plenty of hat stores and she was going to find that perfect hat. So they arrive, and that evening they go to dinner. And sitting in the restaurant is this woman, and my mom just becomes enamored with her hat. And she's explaining to my dad, that's it. That's exactly the hat that I've been looking for. I need to find that hat. So my parents, being very social people, of course, approached her and asked her where she had purchased her hat. And it wasn't in Kentucky, unfortunately. She was from somewhere out of town. So they went back to their dinner. But as that woman got up to leave, she walked over to my mom and she handed her her hat and said, I know how much you love my hat, and I think you would wear this with more appreciation and honor than I would tomorrow. And she gave my mom her hat. So when, it's a great story. So when my mom passed, my aunt held a memorial in her honor for just the women of the family. And we had a special tea. And we all wore hats to that tea and in honor of that occasion. So it was awesome.
Great story.
Denise, do you have the hat?
My sister has it. Yeah. Yeah, we would never get rid of that hat.
Too much sentimental.
Very sentimental.
I love that story. Thank you for sharing that, Denise.
Yes.
That's a great inspirational story too, Denise. So maybe next year for inspirational speech, it's a good one.
Okay, I have two more lovely ladies. I've got Sarah and Denny. I think we have enough time for both of them. Yeah? Okay, so whoever wants to go first, it's up to you, ladies.
I have you set up on the timer, so.
Denny, you want to go or you want me to go?
Go, Sarah.
Okay. I have a story about a lost hat. I don't usually wear a whole lot of hats, but there was this one that I absolutely loved. It was this black, this kind of sporty hat where I could go hiking, I could go to the coast, you could just do everything with this little hat. And I went to Hawaii and we were going, on those little dolphin tours where you go get to see all the dolphins and all this kind of stuff. Well, at the time, I guess, apparently I did not realize that hats fly off on boats. And so as we zoom along chasing the dolphins, my hat flew off. But to my amazement, it landed right on the dolphin trailing behind us and landed on it, and it swam away with the hat. And I'm totally lying to you right now.
Good one.
Sarah, you should have.
Yeah, it just went in the ocean. I never got to see it again, but it was my favorite.
Sarah, you should have tied it back. That it flew on the dolphin, and the dolphin swam its way to the boat to the side, and it gave it back to you. That's what you should have done.
I should have.
You find something, they'll give it back or take it from you. I've seen that too. Oh, well, that's
good story. Good story.
What about you, Denny?
Sarah, you're just not a good liar.
She couldn't keep it up long enough.
Work on that. So this hat is the one I wear when I'm photographing the parades in Reedley. I'm the old lady running down the street backwards with my camera. Last year when I retired from the schools and photographing schools, I told them that I felt that it was time for me to. My worst nightmare is getting run over by a float parade, a parade float. And this pink hat would be what's left laying in the ground. So I'm old enough now that I'm not going to do that anymore. But I have the hat. I keep the hat. When anybody sees me, everybody would wave at me because I'm the one running down the middle of the street in the parades in front of everybody. So anyway, I would see a lot of people that I hadn't seen all year. It was kind of fun.
Well, they definitely can't miss you. Okay, so I'll turn it back over to Joey. Or yeah. Thanks, Joey.
Yeah. Thank you, Heather. Now, poor Storm, I'm going to learn from his mistake, and I'm going to use this opportunity to talk about how gnarly those stories were, use the word of the day, and I'm going to pass it over to our general evaluator. So that was Sarah, right? Yeah, so she can introduce our evaluator of the speech for today.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for all that you've done today. Great stories. I'll just start off with Denny, actually, and she's going to give an evaluation of the speech.
Thank you, Sarah. Good job, Storm. You asked me to watch for pauses. That was something you were working on, and you did great. I didn't notice any pauses. One thing with pauses, I don't know about you, but in my brain, when I pause, it seems like a long time, whether it is or not on the outside. So there were no noticeable pauses. Good job. You have the task of talking about something technical to people who in your audience, not everyone is going to be technical. And you did a good job relaying information. And if you were going to improve that speech at all, I would say you're talking about a topic that I want you to sell it to me. I don't know if that's what you wanted to do, but you're talking about a topic that has some attributes to it that are attractive to a consumer. And you talked about those. You talked about the price of energy. That's attractive to me to be able to lower my bill. And it's good for the environment. That's attractive to me as well because I'm using up resources. And the other one was living comfortably. You were talking about living in the heat a little bit or living with air conditioning on all the time. So all those things are super attractive things that can be points out to the audience. And I relate to all of those things. The technical things I don't relate to as much, but I think that if you worked on just a little bit of bringing them down to my level, like pretend I'm a kindergartner, those things would also come across really well. You threw some statistics out there, which was great. You gave us some references for a website to go back to, and that was great. I'd like to hear you speak very confidently when you speak. And one of the things that you could work on is there's a way of speaking right now that I don't quite understand, but it sort of, the sentences end up with a tone that's kind of like this. And the confidence level comes out a little bit stronger when there's more of a statement. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you can work a little bit on the end of your sentences being a little bit more confident, I guess is what I want to say. And you also threw out that maybe and I'm speaking about me because I'm the audience, that maybe I wouldn't be interested in the technical things that you were talking about, but actually I am. So I would say if you can communicate those things thinking that I am going to be interested in them rather than that I'm not going to be interested in them, you can bring me along, and I may just surprise you. I may end up going right out today and looking up thermal heat because you did a great job of presenting it. So thank you very much, Storm. Good job.
Thank you, Jenny. Great evaluation. And yeah, Storm, great speech. I was getting excited along with Jenny, I think, too. And like, oh, yeah. Oh, hey, it's more interesting. And am I allowed to throw in one other little thing? I think even if you started it off with like a question about like us evaluating our own usage and kind of stuff like that, it would have like pulled us right in, and because it was a great topic and you had great information, great slides. I was just very encouraging. So very cool. Thanks, Storm.
Thank you.
Yeah. And going on to our next evaluator, we're going to do the timer report. Denise.
Okay, we did really good with the timing on the Toastmasters table topics. See, I'm so distracted today. I'm already thinking about work after this meeting. Got to stop doing that. That's why I'm here. Let me back up. I miscalculated at the very beginning of your speech, Storm, and I set you for a 4 to 6 minute speech. So I apologize when you got your first green light and yellow light, they were a little off. I did correct it though for a 5 to 7 minute speech, and you went a little bit over, but we only had one speech today, so we're not going to hold you to that. As for table topics, we kind of fell under. There was a lot of people who just had a few second speech, but that's okay. It happens. I probably went over. I forgot to time myself. But Chanel, Farron, Sarah, and Denny were like right on a minute. So you did pretty well. Denny, your evaluation was over, but for any of you who are looking for a mentor for evaluations, which I am, Denny's so good at it. She just really covers everything, and just, Denny, you're a pro. So great job.
Thank you.
Oh,
back to you, Sarah. Sorry.
Oh, I was just thinking about it.
All the old cues.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Denise. And next up, we are going to go to our all counter, Sonia.
Hello, everybody. So let me get started. Sarah, you had 2 U's. Chanel, I didn't hear anything from you. Denise, you had 2 ums. Farron, I heard 1 Storm, I liked your speech. I really enjoyed it. So that's the good news. The bad news, you had 16 ums and 2 so's. So is your favorite word. And Heather, you had 3 uhs and 1 and that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Sonia. Great
You're
job
welcome.
catching stuff on us. Thank you. Next up is our Grammarian report with Chanel West. Sounds like a newscast.
All right, here's the forecast for the word of the day report. I heard Sonia, Heather, Joey, and Storm use the word of the day. Did I miss anybody? Denise said it also. Okay, thank you. I want you to get credit. So good job to those who did use it. The rest of you did a gnarly job, but does that mean that it was good or bad? We don't know, because it means both things. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Chanel. Great forecast. I really appreciate that. I think that's the end of the evaluation. We started on time. We're looking pretty good to finish up quickly. I just love how everybody, it flowed really, really well today, and everybody was just right on it. So great job, everybody. And I will hand it back over to our wonderful President, Farron.
Thank you, Sarah. Awesome meeting today. Everybody, I want to give a virtual sticker to Sarah for taking over general evaluation at the last moment, filling in for Winnie, and a virtual sticker as well to Storm for his speech and moving right along in his pathway. Good job. Do we have any birthdays? this week? No March birthdays? Okay. Let's fill out next week's agenda.
Karen,
Yeah.
Karen, we must back up. It is my birthday month.
Okay.
I celebrate the entire month. My birthday is at the end, so I really benefit from this. It's the 27th. So just note, this was something my girlfriend taught me. And ladies, gentlemen, we're special. We should celebrate our entire months.
Yes, I agree.
Yes. Well, we will sing to you closer to your birthday, but I'll remember that. Happy birthday month.
Yay, Denise.
All right. Next meeting is March 9th. The meeting theme is Get Over It. Who would like to be Toastmaster? Danny. Thank you. And we have speakers. Ty is going to give his speech next week because he couldn't go today. Anyone else like to do next week? All right, we'll just leave it for Ty. Would anyone else like to speak on March 16th or 23rd? Plan for the future.
I can put me down for the 16th, please, Farron.
Okay. Will
St.
do.
Patty's Day.
Yep.
Not the day, but that's our theme.
You could put me down for the 23rd, please.
All right. Okay, sounds good. And then an evaluator for Ty's speech next week.
I can do that one, Farron. Oh, go ahead, ladies.
Denise.
It doesn't matter. I'll take anything, whatever you want.
Okay, I'll give it
The thing I want to work on the most, so I'll do it.
Oh, okay. I'll give it to Denise then.
Sarah, you want to do the general evaluator, the OG?
Sure, I can do that.
You did that today. Do you want to take something
Oh,
else?
that's right. That's right. Sorry.
Yeah, anything but timer.
All right. I'll give you table topics for next week.
Okay, all right, that sounds good.
And a general evaluator for next week. Anyone?
Sorry, I won't be here next week.
I'll take it.
Joey will take it. Grammarian? Heather?
Good.
All counter? I'll give that one to Taylor. She said to give her anything. And timer? I'll take that one actually. Would anyone like to be Zoom master?
You think maybe Chanel or somebody else want to try it? Were you that today, Farron?
Yes.
So I'll do it.
Okay.
I really do want to learn that,
Yeah, Denny, you want to try it?
but I'm not sure I want to do it on the job.
We have a SOP for it, standard operating procedure.
Yeah.
So it kind of outlines step by step how to do it.
Okay.
You want to try it?
Intention for the future. I won't do it yet.
Okay. Got it.
But I will take a speech on National Puppy Day. I have to do it.
Okay.
Mm.
For sure. I'll put you down.
Okay.
All right. We're all filled in. And over the weekend, I went to Tahoe, rode some gnarly mountains. I'm using the word of the day now. That is why I completely blanked for Monday's board meeting. So our board meeting is scheduled for next Monday, the 8th at noon. Please attend, board members. I did send out an invitation already. Let me know if you got it. And anyone else who would like to attend as well, even if you're not on the board, just let me know and I'll send you the link.
And I know one thing Storm asked is about in-person meetings, so we can talk about that at that time. So try not to let me forget that.
All right,
Denise.
I'll put that on the agenda.
Joey, what did you do different with your background?
Who?
Me?
You. Joey,
Oh,
your
me?
background. Your lighting and your background looks good. What'd you do?
I moved. Okay, a couple things. I moved.
Just a wall?
Do you not like my pictures behind me?
No, I loved your pictures, but I'm thinking of like work related things that need to be in a more
So what I did, so I'm in our bedroom now, and I have a nice just plain background behind, which is good, but I have a window on this side. If you noticed when I first came in here, that it was super light over here, and I've learned all this from Denny. So what I did was I closed our blind on that side. And then I have a ring light. I bought a ring light probably a month or two ago. And so I'm still getting some light on this side. So I put the ring light on this side so you can see the light on my hand. So it's to help to balance out the lighting there. So that's what I did.
Good. You got some competition, Denny.
I like
I'm learning. The
I
grasshopper is
like it.
learning,
I
Denny.
want everyone to look beautiful.
And I shave too. I shave. I think that's part of it too.
Oh, that's it. You know, with those ring lights, if they look too bright, like I look pretty bright today. It's because of my dark blue shirt. If it looks too bright, you can also throw a pillowcase over it. Like a white pillowcase to throw over it.
And some of them, like mine it's a cheap one too. It's only $30 or $20, but it has three different, it has a cool light, it has a warm, and then it has another one. I think this is the white light, but there's three different versions of it. And so I just usually will turn the white one on and then just dim it like 3 or 4 times.
Perfect.
You just got to play with it. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions, comments, and concerns?
Nope.
Nothing. Well, thanks for wearing your hats on.
Thank you.
And I'll see you next week for
Everybody have a good week.
on March
Have a good
9th.
week.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Be safe.